Right, nearly there. I had a crisis of confidence, Gilda, and turned my computer language back to English. It was really stressful at times. It was too much of a crash course, basically. Good evening, everybody over on YouTube and everybody here on Zoom, the premium members of Expats Portugal. Lovely to see you here. Many from the earlier webinar and back for 9 o'clock on a Thursday evening when we're the dream team, talking to you about every aspect of moving to Portugal. And of course, Gilda is here, the queen of the visas, who, along with her colleagues, went to Amsterdam earlier on this week for a team building exercise. So we'll find out how that went. Just want to say hello quickly to Dr. Michael, who's in from Serenity as well. Hi, Michael.
Hello, dear sir, and everybody else.
Good to see you. Thank you. Sarah Davey. I mean, as if you hadn't given us fantastic service already on the earlier webinar, you're back again. And to add comments, can we ask you to join us again tonight on the Dream Team?
Absolutely. Happy to answer any questions.
Oh, look at you. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. And I'm not sure who else may be joining us from the Dream Team tonight, but I shall be keeping an eye in the community here on Zoom to see if anyone else joins us. But I think we can take a pretty broad range of questions this evening on the Dream Team session through until 10 o'clock tonight. So I want to share this picture because there's Gilda with a few of the colleagues. That's only a small number, right, Gilda, of the people who were in Amsterdam. Tell us about it. How did it go?
We were 20. Actually, it was better than I expected.
Wow.
Yeah, because, you know, a 20 woman on a trip, on a 3-day trip,
yes,
it could be very, very challenging. But everything went well. Everybody was happy, as you can see on the picture.
Yeah.
And everybody was on time for the things that we had to do. And we had a wonderful time. It was amazing.
I'm so glad to hear it. I'm so glad to hear it. Team building and bonding around Heineken. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, nothing. And after that, we went after the Heineken experience. We went on a cruise with the wine and cheese tasting. So, what could possibly go wrong with both experiences?
Well, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned because we have all of those things here in Portugal. How was it to be in the Netherlands, and how was it different? We got great food, wine and cheese and hams here, and we've got great beer. That could, I think, Sagres and Superboc could parallel Heineken in quality, and I won't go too deeply into that conversation.
I don't think so. I always prefer Heineken.
Oh wow!
Even in Portugal, when I drink, I think it's softer.
What? I mean, that is going to go alongside my sardine roasting moments. Gilda Pereira admitting to liking Heineken over Sagres or Superboc. Remember where you heard it first, folks. So anyway, I'm glad you had a fantastic time.
Yeah, but I have to say something.
I
understand. I understand many of you now when you say that the Portuguese are lovely people, because we could tell that the Dutch people didn't have any patience, at least with us. I don't know if it was because we were a big group, but they didn't render a good service in the restaurants, in the museum. No, they were like sometimes even rude.
Wow, a little bit of a shaming. I think for Amsterdam, we can say, can't we? And perhaps that's the clue. Although you could equally say the same thing of Lisbon, couldn't you? You know, they have to receive a lot of tourists, and that might make them a little bit miserable sometimes. But you weren't impressed then, Gilda?
Yes, I said, okay, I will never talk badly about Portuguese service again.
Wow, okay. Quite a few revelations already, and we're only 6 minutes in. Let's leave Amsterdam on an up note and a positive note. That's a beautiful picture, and that was taken presumably on one of your strolls.
Yes, it was me. It was me.
Did it go so well that you were actually walking on water, or was that from a bridge?
It was from a bridge.
Okay, all right, super job. Okay, back to the much more a normal world for you of working with visas. and Seth and the whole bureaucratic process of getting people to Portugal. Any updates, Gilda, as we move towards the 1st of April, when we will see the relaunch of Seth as APMA? Any news from the front line?
No, we are 1 week now to get to April, and we have no news.
Right. Okay. Still not too late though. You may well get a few press releases and an invitation to the launch.
Yes.
On the 1st of April, and I'll be right there with you if that invitation is extended to me. Alegria, Alison and Michael, getting into you in the US. Grateful for the dream team. Bet the EIA ladies made their mark in Amsterdam. Sounds like they did. And you girls look ready to party, says Mike T. So a good balance then of partying and constructive team building by the sound of it. And I wouldn't, says Mehmet, compare Amsterdam to anywhere else in the world. So in a bracket of its own, a class of its own there, I won't push you too further on the experiences of Amsterdam, Mehmet. Botard, also from Tom Smith, from a Chavoza, Ohio. Thank you very much, Chavoza, Ohio. And Yolanda is in Phoenix, Arizona, over there, tuned in on YouTube. So get those questions in, folks. I think we've been slightly distracted by a slideshow from Amsterdam. We are here to talk about migration, of course, to Portugal. So if you have any questions, this is absolutely the right place to ask them. Let's get before they start rolling in, let's get an update from Michael, Dr. Michael Averbrook, who's our special guest on the webinar next Thursday evening at 7:30 with the do's and don'ts of moving to Portugal. Can you give us a little bit of a preview? And I think you've got a bit of an update for us tonight as well on service from Serenity, Michael.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But with regards to next week, it's going to be a practical, an hour and a half, an hour or so. And we're just going to talk about what to do and mainly what not to do. In terms of healthcare transition to Portugal. So everything on a real practical basis, A, and B, with real life experiences through the last, 2 years or so. I'll try to pinpoint the thing that really can make a difference in something that goes very well, very smoothly, with no hurdles, and some simple things that you do not in the right way, and then everything goes wrong.
Perfect. So, everything goes.
Be prepared for everything goes wrong.
Okay, that's, right.
That's the thing. This is what we're gonna try and prevent.
Okay.
So yeah, next week, 7:30. You said 7:30.
7:30. See you then. And you are, of course, a Serenity dream team within this dream team. Just like Spartan, actually, people speak very highly of individuals within your team because you craft and develop close working relationships with your clients, because it is a very personal business, isn't it? Medicine, of course.
Absolutely.
For those people here who hear this tonight and don't know what Serenity do, and those people who will see this on YouTube, can you give us a little bit more of a clue as to what you do in terms of that transition that you mentioned?
Well, Serenity is a medical concierge service and clinical case management. And that being said, I'll kind of reinforce it with another maybe slogan, but it's true in real life slogan. We hold your hand through all this transition period of coming to Portugal and then staying in Portugal with everything and anything that concerns healthcare. Literally everything and anything. I always have this small exclusion, and I always tell to our clients or potential clients, if something happens in the middle of the night, like you have a chest pain, you're sweating and you're short of breath, call an ambulance. Don't call Serenity.
Yeah.
The same goes if you're just been hit by a truck driving your car, call an ambulance. Otherwise, call Serenity. Each and every one of our members has a dedicated case manager. All of them are nurses, so they can assist you with clinical decision making, with getting your appointments, with finding out who is the most adequate physician to a complaint of yours, to a symptom of yours. You name it. We hold people by the hand, walk them through this labyrinth of the Portuguese health systems. This is what we do for a living.
Very reassuring, fantastic. And it's not that you don't want to help people in those emergency situations, it's that valuable time can be lost if people call you instead of the emergency services, right?
Absolutely so.
Yep, and the number in Portugal, so you know, should you ever need it, and God forbid you don't, but it's 112 for the emergency services, paramedics, ambulances here in Portugal. Okay, John Gibson has joined us on YouTube. Thank you, Michael, for the time being. Enjoying our new life in Lagos. Thank you, EI. Please pass that on, Gilda. Tom has a question. Rick has a question. Those are questions for you, Gilda, but the first one that we'll go to is the Global Nobles over here on Zoom. Question for Gilda. We are EIA clients, and we have one of our CEF appointments scheduled for the end of May. Will the new CEF department honor the appointment, or do we have to get a new one? That's a very good question. We can assume, can we not, Gilda, that existing appointments will stay in the diary even if the staff are changing?
Yes, we can assume. We can assume that we are going to keep the appointments. They are going to keep the appointments. It doesn't make any sense if it's going to be some other way.
Yeah, I guess the only possible change might be to bring them forward if they get ahead of themselves. But yeah, let's assume that they are going to honor those appointments. Otherwise, chaos could be caused, and they've got enough on their hands, let's face it. Okay, that's from the Global Nobles. I hope that helps. And from Tom Smith, from what I understand, the reformation of CEF is to split the law enforcement function. I imagine the part Gilda deals with won't change much more than the name on the door. Is that true?
Well, that's what we are hoping.
Okay, so
because the migration law didn't change.
Yeah.
So what we are hoping is that they kind of change the name and they change the people that are going to operate the system, but the procedures more or less keep the same.
Okay. All right. So yeah, good call on that, Tom. And yeah, it is about the law enforcement part after some pretty shocking behavior from CEF officials some years ago. Okay, thank you very much for those questions for Gilda. We'll come back to more on those a little later on. Calgary here, but vacay in Portugal and other parts of Europe for a month in July and August. How lovely, Marcia. Would love to be relocated before Christmas to Portugal. Fantastic time. It's always a good time to be in Portugal, but it's a lovely time of the year to be here, to be saying Boas Festas to people. Seems funny saying it right now, though, here in March, nearly April, of course. Barack is back with us. Hello from Texas. And Ray's here, Ray and Vera. Hi, you guys. Lovely to see you earlier on as well. We've just accepted an offer for our house. Hey, congratulations. Good news. Moving in the right direction. Thumbs up from Ray there. So we can now move on with the visa application. Also hoping to be in the Silver Coast sometime in autumn. Fantastic news. Healthcare question. It's easy for you to say. Marcia, this is one for you then, Dr. Michael. I have a healthcare question. I think I understand the difference between public, private. However, how do we get prescription coverage like we have here? And I'm assuming here is the United States. Is this covered, or do we purchase health plans that would include prescription and or dental, Michael?
Marcia, thank you very much for this question. It's an excellent question, mainly because I have a story. Not that I have an answer. No, actually, I have an answer. So the thing is very simple, and it goes like that. Prescriptions are provided by physicians, naturally, either public or private. Where and when you have your SNS number, your numero do utente, you're registered with the National Healthcare System, you will get those medications most probably for a very tiny co-payment, or part of them even for free. Otherwise, you will still have to pay them out of pocket. There's this question of, do we have a health plan / health insurance that would cover our meds? This is the main concern, and actually one of the main expenses, or the main expense for insurance companies in the States, not in Portugal. The health insurance companies and the health insurance plans would include either a relatively small or even tiny coverage for medications, meaning 200, 300, 500 euros. Many of the insurance plans would not include coverage for medications at all. But for a change, this strange behavior even makes sense, as all the people in Portugal, newcomers included after receiving the residence, would have their meds provided, again, as I said before, for a very symbolic co-payment, and all of that would be subsidized by the state, the insurance actually doesn't have a business over there. So this is one of the reasons why insurance plans in Portugal are extremely cheaper than in the States, for example. And this is the reason why coverage for medications is actually not a big part, if any, of the health insurance. I hope I made myself clear.
You did.
And then you will let me tell the story.
Yeah, that's what
this is part of the
for.
message of tonight.
Okay, cool.
I want a story now.
Yeah, definitely. And
okay,
here, by the way, Marcia says here is Canada, so not hugely different to the United.
Okay, so here is Canada. Then you get your meds as well through the public system, and not necessarily through the private. If you have any private add-ons, that would be for very, very specific meds. They're not provided maybe by the government, etc., etc., etc. Doesn't really exist here. So the story, you asked for it. And actually my message of tonight, from time to time, we really have a twist in our real life. And that only proves us that people should listen. And here's an opportunity to bring the message. We always repeat and we always say on this forum, on other forums, or wherever we speak, and we speak to people planning their move to Portugal, please plan ahead. Plan ahead, ask us, consult platforms that are really reliable information. And then after a year that we really saw people like, they know what they're asking, they know how to prepare themselves. And then in 1 week and 1 week only, we get 2 cases of people that just arrived to Portugal with serious medical conditions in their background. And they are just here, just, hello, I landed, I walk from the airport, I wake the next day in my Airbnb or my rental, whatever, and kind of, treat me. You say, what? Yeah, I'm on meds, very expensive meds. And in Portugal, expensive meds are provided by the government and you can't even buy them. But they're provided by the government if you have arranged for that, you have your registration with the national healthcare system, to whatever extent somebody prescribed it, and people just, hello, my next treatment of 2,000 euros is scheduled like in 10 days. So could you help me? Yes, did you plan it? Do you know anything about it? No, I was I'm sure. I read on Facebook that the healthcare here is for free. Yes, and so kind of treat me. And and then it's like you stick with a person that really needs treatment. He really can't miss this treatment. This treatment costs a lot of money, and even if you pay double or triple, you can't buy it in Portugal. It's part of the prescribed medications that are provided only by the national healthcare system, only through the public hospitals, for free. And then the person goes like, okay, so give me the meds for free. Hello, sir. There's a process behind it. We need to acquaint you with a physician. You need to be registered, at least partially, at least give us the opportunity to help you with that. Don't come and say, hey guys, I'm here, treat me. And if you don't treat me, my situation will worsen. Yes, of course, but where have you been? I heard on the Facebook, I asked somebody, whatever. Okay, so I said, okay, so the process with the national healthcare system is not a process of a week. Nothing here takes a week, nothing. Even getting your cable TV doesn't take a week. So, okay, how long would it take me to have a private insurance? Well, we have brokers that we work with. We have great people assisting with insurance. You can buy an insurance and have it probably in a week. The guy says, great, so problem solved. No, problem ain't solved, because each and every insurer in Portugal would have a waiting period, would not cover for pre-existing conditions. You name it, whatever, it will not happen.
Yeah.
So, but I heard otherwise. Yes, but have you crossed information? Have you really checked? Have you speak to an insurance company? Did you do that? No. So here's the message. It's crucially important, specifically if you have some background, some medical conditions that necessitate treatment that you cannot stop, that it's not just your hypertension, that this pill is called A in the States or in Canada, and it's called A+ in Portugal. That's not about this. It's about being prepared for your transition. It's exactly like you wouldn't go to Portugal and at the airport, wait, I'll call Gilda, she will arrange my visa, right? That doesn't work. It doesn't work with healthcare as well. That's the main thing I wanted to mention this evening.
Thank you for that. I think you've made your point loud and clear there. And I think we made a similar point with Sarah Davey of Spartan FX in the earlier webinar. You can't really have this conversation early enough, can you? It's never too early to have this conversation or start talking. Although, as you, from your illustration, your story there, it can definitely be too late. Same thing that we were saying with currency. So reach out early. While we're with you, Michael, Yumika asks, for insurance, at what point should we start contacting Serenity? Around the time of the CEF appointment or when we have the D7 approved? Well, you should have a conversation with them sooner rather than later. But for insurance, you need to go to Nuno Mendes of Winsurance, who is in the business directory. Do you want to add something to that, Michael?
Exactly. We are not, first of all, it's very important to say again, we are not selling insurance. We are absolutely your consultant as for what insurance can work better for you. How does it really work in real life? Example just brought now. Like, we're not going to sell you insurance, not the one that would cover your meds and the one that wouldn't, but we will at least tell you how it works. So you can contact us as early as possible to understand how it all works. And then to buy the insurance, it really depends. Buying a decent insurance in Portugal might take between 3 working days to, let's say, 10 working days, depends if the insurance would ask you for some proof of prior medical conditions, etc., etc., etc. And another very important thing, when to buy this insurance. Pay attention. Unless a miracle happens on the 1st of April, between your physical arrival to Portugal and your CEF appointment, you might have a couple of good months in which you might as well need some medical assistance. And if you want a comprehensive insurance in place, take care of that beforehand, because all of the people arriving with travel insurance that they had for the application, travel insurance covers only for emergencies and accidents. It would not cover for routine exams. It would not cover for routine blood tests, imaging, you name it. So again, talk to either to an insurance broker or to us. Understand how it all works. We can work out together or reverse engineer the time that you should buy your insurance, and consult with regards to, okay, what insurance might work for you. As soon as you know what insurance might work for you, you work with a broker.
There you go. And thoroughly recommend you take a look at Winsurance. You'll find them in the business directory of Expats Portugal. Thank you for that. And of course, there is a D7 specific product for you there in there. Yumiko in the business directory supplied by Winsurance, and many other services. Actually, we'll be talking to Nuno soon again, I'm sure. Thank you for that for the time being, Michael. Although actually, before you go, specifically said Marcia, we pay about $2,500 annually for prescription coverage. My husband is diabetic and it covers all of that plus anything unforeseen. Maybe expect to make a saving here in Portugal on that?
Yep, pretty much so. Specifically, I don't know. I mean, of course, it's very personal what other meds will be included there. But in Portugal, insulin is actually provided for free. as soon as you registered with the national healthcare system and registered there as a diabetic. Many other meds would be very much subsidized. Again, very symbolic copays. It would reach probably 10, 20, 25 euros per month. That's it. For a person with a complex situation like diabetes that naturally would need kind of a list of medications on top of the insulin or other anti-diabetic medications.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Michael. And something to look forward to there, Marcia. One of the many things to look forward to moving to Portugal. Back to Yumiko and for Gilda now. With Christina and Caroline's help. Good evening, you say, by the way, Yumiko, and good evening to you. We now have VFS San Francisco appointment on May the 15th. Appointment was 2 months out instead of 1 month. Questions. How long has it been taking on average to get the D7 approval notification for people at San Francisco? I hear San Francisco is taking longer than DC, New York, etc. So yeah, word on the American situation. And any news on the strike?
No.
Oh, okay. So they may have backed down or changed their mind with the strike action.
Never didn't heard any news so far.
Okay.
So I don't know if they kept the idea of the strike or if they just are going forward. So we didn't hear nothing. In average, from San Francisco, it's taking 3 months.
Okay.
Okay, but something that I would like to address here is that when we prepare the visas, we always arrange a reservation for a flight that is accepted on the consulate, so that if something goes wrong, you don't lose the money of the ticket. I know that sometimes you want to buy the ticket in advance because it's less expensive, but if something goes wrong, it can be more expensive. So what we do is that we put a reservation and we advise people to only buy the tickets when the visa is approved.
Okay, good advice. Thank you for that, Gilda. When Michael was talking, he was talking about, I saw on Facebook. I don't know, you don't have to, I won't put you on the spot now, but if you or Sarah have a favorite Facebook myth from your respective industries, it would be great to hear it. I'm sure you do, but I don't want to put you on the spot with it. But if something occurs,
no, I was just thinking to myself that every day I hear that. But I saw on Facebook, it's like, it's okay, let's go through that again.
Okay, put your phone down. That's right. Turn your phone off. Let's give you the facts now. Sarah, something for you in that department?
The only thing is I was at a seminar when I was in Lisbon about a month or so ago, and I was speaking to people in the similar situation. They'd moved over to Portugal, and the comments that they said about the Facebook groups were that they said that the information wasn't detailed enough. It didn't go into the detail that now that they felt that they needed. I think they were talking about tax and stuff like that, and they said there was just a lot of things that perhaps weren't covered, or they made it sound easier than it actually was. Yeah. I suppose I'd say that everybody's situation is different, so it is challenging to listen to other people and think they've done it this way, I should do it that way, because everyone's situation is different. So it's very challenging.
Yeah, well said. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, that tends to be what happens on Facebook. People see D7, it's easy, and then they're happy with that, and they move on, and then they have some work to do thereafter. Thanks for that.
Yes, even today, I got a call from a solicitor that was helping an Indian citizen. Okay, and she got my number through someone that she knew, and she said, I'm so sorry, I have this client, he asked me for a visa, and he already paid me, but I've been trying to do this, but I can't figure out, I've been studying this for days now, and I can figure out. And I said, okay, so what type of visa? And she tells me, I'm not sure.
Ooh, okay, there you go. A great illustration.
And I was like, okay, how much did you charge him?
Yes. Incredible.
And then she told me, I'm not going to say here, but it was quite a good amount. And I said, okay, so I'm going to help you, because she knew my friend. And I say, you are going back to him and ask what type of visa does he want in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you come to me and I'm going to give you the checklist. You pay me a consultation and I give you the guidelines, and then you try to do it. And she was like, oh, thank you very much. No, because it's so difficult. I told her it's so difficult. And if it's not your expertise, like visas, and she said, yeah, but I only understood that right now. After being studying this for 3 days and getting nowhere.
After taking the money and studying for 3 days.
Yeah, and she was quite, she seemed to be a good person, because she was very worried that she took the money, and that's why she needed help, and she was willing to pay me and to share the money with me to help her.
Thank goodness you're there to salvage the situation. And I hope the Prime Minister or President do see this, because you're basically doing some one-woman reputation management of the country there. So I hope you get acknowledged for that at some point. I missed Rick C earlier on. Sorry about that, Rick, and we will be coming to the halfway point Mandela moment. But Rick C asks, Gilda, if an EU citizen and her non-EU spouse move to Portugal, is there a passive income requirement for residency?
No, there isn't.
Not for EU citizens. So that's a quickie, and well dealt with there. Thank you, Gilda. Mandela, did he miss you? And did you bring him anything back from Amsterdam?
I didn't. And I don't think that he missed me, because he was mad at me. And when he saw, he like pretended he didn't miss me. I was not there. And only on the other day, he was like, okay, we are friends again.
Oh, my goodness. He's quite the character. And I should point out, this is Gilda's dog we're talking about. For people who don't have the context, they might be thinking, my God, is she talking about a child? What's going on here? Let's get right to the most important question.
On the other hand, my daughter, she was a little bit jealous that I was with my team in Amsterdam. Yeah. So she's 10 years old. She was sending me print screens of hotels in Italy. And she said, I want to go with my best friend to Italy this summer. And you need to take me there, because if you can take your team to Amsterdam, you can also take me and my best friend to Italy. And these are the hotels I want to go.
She is smart, and I suspect she will be running the company at some point. Yes.
I guess so. Yes, she has the profile. She has the right profile.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. So Italy is then. Okay. And that's dealt with Laurie, who's the first question. She asked the first question tonight. Let's get right to the most important question. How's Mandela? That's dealt with. He's his usual slightly spoiled self, if you don't mind me saying so, Gilda. Okay. Let's get back to the questions on Zoom and in the chat here on YouTube as well. We have talked to the Global Nobles. Steve Hilson is here as well. Good to see you, Steve. Boa noite, Gilda. Should we assume that APMA will continue to ask for a 1-year rental and Portuguese bank account for D8 applicants? And as you said, Gilda, the law isn't changing, just the structure is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Although the D8 is the digital nomad, and according to the law, you don't need that.
Okay.
But some consulates are asking for it. So you need to double check in your consulate if they are asking or not. Or then if you are working with us, we need to check that.
Okay, that's great. Steve, let us know if you need more insight on that. Happy to help with that tonight, and good to see you here. I also wouldn't underestimate the power of Facebook groups, says Mehmet. It's good to see you here as well tonight. It's always good to hang around and look for helpful information. Yeah, fair point. And that's how I found out the consulate in my home country is working normally for months now. So yeah, I think it's a matter of not taking things too seriously and knowing exactly how to navigate and take certain things with a pinch of salt on Facebook. But you make a good point there. Thank you very much, Mehmet. Good to see you. For Gilda from Susie, we're coming to Portugal in June for 3 weeks. Any new recommendations for banks who are opening bank accounts? We haven't talked about this for a little while, Gilda. We would like to try to open the account while we're there. Can EI help us understand what documents we need to bring? We are from the United States. So the more general point about bank accounts, any good news for us?
Today, I tried to open a bank account with Caixa Geral. And together with Daniel, it seems that they are getting some response with Caixa Geral.
Okay.
But if you want to know what kind of documents, it's case by case that they will know. So you need to email me, and I will ask them what they will want from you. I will put my email here.
All right. It has the tone of a political speech, doesn't it? Today, you're standing on the steps of an aeroplane, turning back towards the crowd and saying, "Today, I tried to open a bank account in Portugal."
The
crowd cheers. It's got to that, everybody. Okay.
And also, I agree with Mehmet, because I also check the Facebook groups, especially for expats, to see what's going on. Sometimes I also learn from them what's going on.
That's right. I mean, it is a mixed blessing for sure, isn't it? And you have to deal with a lot of noise to get a bit of value. I think the noise to value ratio is pretty skewed on social media, but certainly you can pick up the occasional nugget. Thank you for being fair on that, Gilda. I was hoping to open our bank account while we were there too this summer. This is Marcia, who incidentally was very pleased with that earlier response from you, Dr. Michael. The savings on the husband's meds will help cushion the pain of paying for the apartment early. For swings and roundabouts. And there is value in what you pay for versus free advice. I think that's referring to social media. And Marcia was asking for if there was any updates on the Canadian consulates as well as asking, hoping to open a bank account while they're in the summer, but now we realize we need an address in Portugal. Can you address that, please, Gilda? Having an address in Portugal, and how's it going in Canada at the moment?
In Canada, I don't know. As far as I know, there aren't any issues. I know that in some consulates it's taking longer, but it's not like a big issue. And for the Vancouver consulate, let me check with.
Are you sending a message now to somebody?
Yeah, I am.
Well, they've just
someone that works with the Canadians.
They have just got back from Amsterdam after all. Okay. Just remember Heineken at the end. Okay.
No, I don't work with all the visas.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Did we address all of that, Marcia? Just let us know if not. Marcia, message to you from Ray and Vera. We should be speaking to Ray and Vera, who opened a bank account.
we were talking about the address in Portugal.
Oh yeah, sorry.
For the opening of the bank account, there are some ways to go about it.
Okay, and what to give you a call, and you can furnish Marcia with those details.
Yes, it's of course it depends on the bank and what the bank will ask.
Okay, and we've got another option. Marcia, we opened a bank account from here in Kimberley, British Columbia. We have an account at Novo Banco. So there's another one to add to the list of possibles. Thank you very much. And Gilda, you popped your email address, fantastically helpful in the meeting chat on Zoom as well. Very good. Bank account. I didn't know that. I thought you only needed a NIF. No, you will need a Portuguese bank account at some point, Susie. Gail, thank you for being here as well. I think we got a little message update from you, haven't we, Gail? Oh, Gilda's back.
Already have the answer. about to Marcia. Okay, so the Vancouver consulate, it takes a while to respond. It takes about 3 months to issue the visa. It is better than the Montreal consulate that takes about 6 months to issue the visa. So it's not that bad. And at this moment, the appointments are for me.
There you go. How about that? Doesn't get more dream team than that, does it? You're able to just presses a few buttons, sends a message, and we get the answer. Fantastic. Gail, we got our promissory contract completed with our house near Orang. Good choice. A beautiful little town. And so now to figure out when to close by early July and now begin with EI. Process and figure out next steps. We also hope to be in Portugal by sometime in the fall. How wonderful. Loving all these updates. Thank you very much for sharing them with us. And you have a question as well, I think, a little bit further down in the chat. Oh, yeah, I read the Facebook expat groups for general info and then refer to the Expats Portugal forum. Of course, a little bit more focused and helpful and accountable, I would say, at Expats Portugal on the forum for more detailed answers. And then the webinars for referrals for expat advice. So far, they have not led us astray. Thank you for that feedback. Barak, here on the Zoom, once you go to the consulate in the US, how long do you have from the issue of the visa to travel to Portugal and start the CEF process, Gilda?
Okay, so the visa is going to be valid for 120 days, 4 months, but you need to travel to Portugal in the first 90 days since the visa is issued. Your first entry needs to be in the first 90 days.
There you go, Barak. Marcia, Gilda, does working with you to secure a rental at €950 include a legal rental contract? How do we get a guarantor for the landlord? I don't know if this is Casa Portuguesa, Marcia. You might have to give us a bit of context here. If we work with you for a rental now, then again down the road to buy a property, is there a discount on the total amount payable for the second service? I think the Casa Portuguesa and EI are separate business and services, aren't they?
Yes, we can make a discount, Marcia, but it's not going to be the 900 in 40.
Okay, there you go. I think that's probably more of a one-to-one chat on that to clarify those particular issues.
But we'll be more than happy to help you on the buying of the property.
Of course. So more for you, Gilda, in the pipeline here on the question.
I love that.
What's that? The
more work for me.
More work for you. Very good. So I thought like another discount, but how you're seeing it, how you're framing that, your glass is full with more work for you rather than empty with a discount. Very good. Michael, I think a service update from Serenity that you might want to share. Go ahead.
Gilda needs a doctor, you know.
It sounded like it, didn't it?
Yeah, well, we spoke a little bit about it. We started seeing our own members at our own offices with our own physicians. And the idea behind it is very, very simple. We saw that all people, even referred by us to a very good hospital and a very good clinic, would end up with this sometimes uncrossable barrier of receptionists, non-English speakers, where's your this, where's your that, sit in line here, sit in line there, and people get a little bit frustrated with the process. So we said we're changing the paradigm. Not you waiting for the doctor, rather the doctor waiting for you. And at least in Lisbon, we started working. It works tremendously well. We have great GPs waiting for patients. This is quite
revolutionary.
Quite a different experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Let's see how it develops. But
very good. Thank you for that update. Glad to hear it's going well. Another really good reason to chat with Serenity. And we have a question, another little question from Marcia. EI and Casa Portuguesa, are they separate? Sister companies, right, Gilda?
Yes, sister companies.
Sister companies. Both the brainchild of you, though, right? Your inspiration there behind both companies.
Yes.
Yes. Modestly, yes. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't clear, says Susie. I have to say that quite a lot. I thought you needed a NIF and documents to open a bank account, not also a Portuguese address. We'll email Gilda for sure. Yeah, they want you to have a Portuguese address. I was not able to open a bank account at a physical bank in Portugal, even though I had an address, says Mike T. So I used an online bank with no problem and got my IBAN right away. I used N26. Now, on this matter, a lot of people would say, wouldn't they, Gilda, well, why don't you have Revolut or Wise or N26? Is that permissible, using these online banks that are not necessarily headquartered in Portugal?
The problem is they want to see that the money is in Portugal.
Yeah.
In a Portuguese bank.
Okay. So
and there's a slight other problem. I'm sorry, it's maybe it's the hour. Whatever papers you bring to the bank, it's not going to be enough. They will always find a paper you didn't have.
Yes, that's why I told Susie, you need to email me. So I emailed the bank. So the people from the bank will tell me in this specific case what kind of documents do they need. Yes. Because each day it's different types of documents.
Yes, it's not unusual to see somebody who's brought their 3-drawer metal filing cabinet on a sack truck into the bank with them. So they still won't have that one thing, right, Michael?
No, look, we have clients, many times coming over to our offices just to say hi and to be acquainted and whatever. And many of them walk in with those those trolleys of the lawyers that have it's like tons of papers inside. They go around with it. So, why are you going with that? Say, well, everywhere we go, somebody needs some kind of a paper. We have all the papers here. Nobody can kind of say a name of a paper, and I wouldn't have it here.
You know what? There's an idea, Michael. This is an opportunity. Jacqueline, Astrid, Jerry, the concertina file on wheels with Expats Portugal branding on it. Perfect. The ideal gift for the person moving.
Great
idea. Great idea, Carl. Great.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Let's go over to YouTube. And is vision care covered? Asked Tom Smith over there. My wife and I both need glasses. My needs are pretty strong. I can usually tell someone who hasn't seen me drive by the fact that they are still breathing. Yeah, that's bad, Tom. Coverage of the opticals then. The ophthalmology.
Yeah, normally a comprehensive health plan, health insurance in Portugal, not health plan, be advised. Two different things.
Yeah, well said.
Health insurance in Portugal would include some part of optometric coverage. Ophthalmology, meaning everything that an ophthalmologist, an MD, a physician can do, goes under the coverage of outpatient treatment, which is total, full. And then you have either several hundreds of euros that would be dedicated to frames and lenses, or with some health insurance that would be only an access to a discounted price table in a certain network that the insurance would work with. So again, everything that a doctor can do is fully covered. Everything that is accessories, glasses, lenses, frames, etc., will be covered to a certain extent, either with a discount or with small amount of money.
There you go, Tom. Thank you for that, Dr. Michael. We haven't talked to you much tonight, Dr. Davey, I was going to say. Do you like that? Doctor of Currency. She'll see you now with your wallet.
You always come up with something new. I think before I was a counsellor, now I'm a doctor.
Currency counsellor, Dr. Davey will see you and your currency exchange now. No specific questions, but like I was saying earlier on, the sooner people can have the conversation with you, the better. How to get their free account opened with you, Sarah?
You can go on the directory, or you can email us. I'll put an email in the chat. I think another thing that you coined was that sort of your 3 steps to currency confidence. Mm-hmm. I always think it's sort of 3 elements that you need to look at. You're moving your money. One is the price. Are you getting the best rate you can on the day? So, for example, against your bank, we were on a webinar earlier and we were giving examples where we've seen customers charged 3 to 4%. We had Bank of America charging customers 5%. We've seen up to 9% being charged for the transaction. Think about exchange rate movements. A lot of people underestimate those, but actually that's where it can cost you more money. I think someone wrote in the chat, I saw there about sort of, the money that they'd saved with Serenity. It helped them cushion the cost of something else. But again, the exchange rate can do that as well. I mean, in 3 months, we've seen the rate move 4%. So on 250,000 euros, that's $10,000 US. But we go further back and that's $30,000 US. What could that buy you? A car or pay for your visa? So it's certainly something to bear in mind. And the biggest thing really is the process. We don't want you to have to fly back home because you can't get your money out of America, for example, and you could have done some things in advance and made that process easier.
Well said. Thank you very much. Your business directory, open up your free currency account and get that currency confidence with Spot on FX sooner rather than later. Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate you being here tonight. Let's go to YouTube. Alan says, we had a conversation with Michael last Saturday. Saturday's Michael. And as a result, we were able to determine what private insurance to use, and we will be covered upon our arrival on June the 24th. Glowing endorsement for Serenity there. Another question I want to ask you, Michael, is somebody's asked who cares for a relative with dementia. Presumably the same rules would apply. Talk to you early, and I'm assuming you can help that person with care for their relative.
Yep. And that might take quite a long time, because caregivers in Portugal, those that you can rely on, are hard to find. And then you have to find somebody that might need to speak English and be available. And if it's a 24/7, it's another kind of hurdle. So it does take time. And as you said, again, talk to us as early as possible, at least understand what is it that you're facing.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. And Mike, from Michael to Mike T, I think you're being helped in the Zoom here by Gilda. And of course, yes, EI can help with opening bank accounts for EI clients. Let's stay with you, Gilda, then. Mehmet, you said even though the bank account, etc., is not the law for the D8, it's still necessary to check with the consulate. You also gave an example 2 weeks ago for a client applying from Manchester. So even though the consulate may ask for additional requirements, you can again contact Foreign Affairs to correct these kind of discrepancies. And we loved that story recently, Gilda, where you spoke to Foreign Affairs to get something sorted out. Is that the route?
Yes, it was exactly this case of Manchester that we wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they did apologize and ask our client to go there again, and they accepted the process without the bank account.
Great. And we have that framed apology up in the EI offices somewhere, I suspect, as well. So absolutely, Mehmet. It can be challenged, but of course that adds to the process. You should bear that in mind too. Marcia, when the visa is issued with 4 months before the CEF appointment, when does the 4 months start? Good question. From visa issue date or arrival into Portugal date?
From the visa issue date.
Thank you, Gilda. Thank you for your help in the YouTube chat, Miguel Luis Souza Dias, who is in beautiful Bragança tonight. Thank you very much for helping people over there and generally connecting with folks, including Catherine Whitby, Botard from VRSA. Beautiful VRSA. Good to see you here, Catherine. And a question from Christine. Can you still do the D7 route, even if you don't meet the passive income, but have more than adequate savings to live on and retire? Sadly not, though, Gilda, but there are ways around that.
No, you can't. So what I've been doing and tell the clients to do is that to find a good financial advisor to work on the savings in such a way that you can generate passive income. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Not out of the question. You just have to rejig. You can't challenge the law, but you can rejig and hack your own situation there, Christine, to make yourselves more attractive to the migratory authority here. Alan, who was complimentary about Michael and Serenity, is asking you, Gilda, what changes are happening on April the 1st with CEF? It's a tricky one, that, isn't it? But this is the transition from CEF to APMA. Anything else you want to say about that, or do we just have to wait and see now?
No, I would need a crystal ball to answer that. I don't
Right.
have.
And you can't even offer that at the moment, can you? I mean, that would come with quite a handsome fee attached to it, I guess, gazing into the crystal ball. The Dream Team are good, but they can't see into the future, folks. Join them every Thursday night here at 9 o'clock. Okay, Angel Tobic, question for Dr. Michael. Can you comment on the Portuguese news about the authorities having some private hospitals reimburse people for overbilling them? I saw that. What's going on there, Michael? Did you see that news story where some private clients are getting reimbursed?
Haven't seen that. I should maybe read deeper the news. We only see people getting really overcharged. This we see all the time.
Yes.
Overcharged and easily charged with the wrong plastic instead of the plastic of your insurance, with the plastic that says Visa on it.
Yes.
No, this is another story. So no, I have not seen that. The only thing I've seen is supermarkets being charged with overcharging people, the cashiers. Have you read that?
I haven't seen that one, but I did see the one about the hospitals, and I think, to be fair to you, Michael, that is news that came out in the last day or so, which I'm sure you'll be looking for tomorrow in the office.
Absolutely. So now
in the medical world, yeah, for sure. So there you go. Thank you very much, Angel, for that. Back to Zoom. To all banks, and we'll have to get through these pretty quickly. We've only got a couple of minutes. Do all banks charge a monthly fee? Are there some that charge less than others? And what about online banks? Most Portuguese banks do charge a monthly fee, don't they? Of around €8, even if you've only got €8 in there, eh, Gilda?
Yes.
Okay.
5 to 8 euros.
5 to 8. And are there any clever banks that are waiving the fees or incentivizing new customers? And I'm expecting an answer that is no on this, because they don't seem to work in a savvy marketing way at the moment, at least. Are there any other ways around paying monthly fees for having a bank look after your money?
To pay less fees?
Yeah.
Well, I think that Millennium has a program that if you have more than 50,000 euros, and if you have insurance with them, and credit cards, they won't charge the fee. Or at least they had this program when I worked with them, but now I don't know.
That's so generous of them, isn't it? Letting you off that €8 a month because you have 50,000 with them.
Yeah.
Alison and Michael, who is the expert to give us reliable information for what documents we need to have with us when we move to Portugal to enable us to exchange our driving license with IMT? I'll have to be brief about this, but of course, EI are the experts on that. How is the world of driving license exchange from what you can tell from your distance, Gilda, in the organization?
I think it's getting better. It seems that the EMT is getting more organized. At least I don't see Carla screaming all the time. So that means it's a little bit in control right now.
Okay,
but what you need to bring from your home country is a proof from the institution that issued the driving license, mentioning that the driving license is an authentic document and it needs to have an apostille.
Superb. Okay, there you go. That's what you need, and who you need, Alison and Michael, with that. Thank you, Gilda. Thank you for all your excellent and sage advice tonight. Thank you, Michael, as well, who's been busy, I see. Thank you very much for working behind the scenes here as well as in front of the camera, Michael. And to you, Sarah, Spartan FX was invaluable in helping us get our down payment transferred properly to complete the CPCV process on our pending house purchase, says Gail. and confirmed each step from test deposit and to final receipt. Definitely was helpful to ease our worries about a large international transfer of funds. Great news to end on. I think you can send love to all your teams and admiration from our community here at Expats Portugal, but they speak so highly of you and your team. So Gilda, thank you very much. Queen of the Visas, do send a message of thanks and all those compliments that came in for your team, and glad to hear Carla is in a sane state currently. Thank you so much. Dr. Michael, thank you very much. Love to from me and the collective here, a community, to your team, your dream team within the dream team, and similarly to Spartan FX. Say hello to everybody for us, will you please, Sarah, back in London. That's just about it for tonight. We'll see you again next Thursday. You'll see more of Dr. Michael at 7:30 on the webinar, and the Dream Team will be back at 9. Let's just give us some nice jazz hands on the screen so we can show our appreciation, if you will, to the Dream Team that are here tonight, and we'll see you again next week. Take care and bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Bye.